everyone. I'm Robyn Grable, the founder of Talents Ascend and the Ascend Collective, and your host for Ascending Beyond Barriers. Welcome. Ascending Beyond Barriers is an inspiring podcast dedicated to showcasing the remarkable journeys of small business founders who have faced and overcome significant challenges on their path to success. Each episode delves into the personal stories of entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds, highlighting their unique experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Our special guest today is Nicole Pompei Zettelmoyer. Nicole is a U.S. Air Force veteran and a U.S. Marine who found a unique and deeply personal way to honor military service by creating handcrafted wreaths from real military uniforms. What began 5 years ago as a tribute using her own uniform, Nicole created wreaths out of real military uniforms. After a viral surge in December of 2020, Nicole had her turn at under the table business into a full-blown small business, a business dedicated to turning veterans' garments into lasting keepsakes for families across the country. Since then, she has created over 3,500 wreaths spanning over all 50 states. And today, Nicole is a stay-at-home mom of an almost 3-year-old and a 9-month-old, still running her small business, Wreaths by Nicole. Wow. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor to meet you. And being a stay-at-home mom, I know, is not easy. Probably, I don't know if it's any easier than being a Marine, you might say. So congratulations on all that. Let's start with your military. Were you in the Air Force first or the Marine?
Flip-flop. I was Marine.
You were a Marine and then you went to the Air Force. So tell us about that. First of all, what made you decide to go in the Marines? Because that's tough. I was in the Navy. I love the Marine Corps. I love the uniform particularly, but I don't know that I was tough enough to survive Marine Corps basic.
We love the Navy. I loved, corpsmen were like my favorite people because, you know, we needed y'all. So,
sure.
Especially as a martial arts instructor, I always needed you guys at an event and stuff. So I was pretty close with all the corpsmen on our base, but sidetrack.
Awesome.
But, yeah, so I wish this was a more romantic story, as I like to say. I wish. But when I was in college, I was a music performance and music education major. It's like two concentrations, so not a double major. But I didn't want to teach right away after graduating college. So I was like, I want to play. So I was like, oh, like what services have military bands? I literally knew nothing about military bands. And I thought the Army and the Marines were the only two to have them. And the Marine Corps called me back first. And that's literally it. I didn't really come from a military family. The grandpas did the obligatory service, but knew nothing about any of it. And so I was like, okay, Marine Corps it is, not knowing, but yeah. That's it.
Wow. So you were in the Marine Corps band? That is awesome.
Yes. Yeah. I was a regional musician. So there is a difference. There is like an MOS actual like regional, you still go through basic training, all kind of that stuff, musician. And then there's the DC musicians, and those are the special automatic E6 ones. They're really, really good. We were good. They were really good. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
My daughter started out in college to be a music ed teacher for special ed kids that using music theory and therapy and all of that. She ended up just being I shouldn't say it that way. She is an early education teacher. And Amazing. She taught for a couple of years and then ended up being a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling her 5 children. So it did come in handy. So
I got to talk to her. I want to homeschool. So yeah, I got to talk to her. Yeah.
I'd love to introduce you. She's been doing it now 16 years. I shouldn't say 16. My oldest granddaughter is turning 16 next week. And she's been homeschooling her since she was born, really, basically, when you think about it. So awesome. And then her youngest is 4, so she's still at it.
Busy. Yeah.
Very, very busy. So, all right. So you're in the Marine Corps band, now the Air Force. Tell us about that.
I got out. I did my 4 years, got out because of a boy, naturally, not my husband. And I moved to San Antonio to work with a youth orchestra. I just found the job, like I have no connection of anyone or anything in San Antonio. I just got offered this job. So we moved there, and I didn't like it a whole bunch. It was just low pay, a lot of work. You know, the kids are great, but it's a nonprofit. So you know how it is. And so one of the perks was we got to work with the people from the Air Force Band of the West, which is located here in San Antonio. And one of the wives was like, "Hey, there's a bassoon opening for the Air Force. You should audition." I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I want to go back in." And she's like, "What's the worst that happens? They say no." And I'm like, "Fair." And I won the audition. And then the next thing I know, I broke up with the boy and went to Air Force, and then I met my husband. So it all worked out for the best. But
Meant to
yeah,
be.
then
Yeah.
I joined the Air Force. Was a musician here in San Antonio. I was also a victim advocate and a master resiliency trainer while I was in, so that was extremely rewarding and in a helpful way. And I got married. I was pregnant with my son, and literally 9 months to the day before I got out, he was born. And 9 months or 9 weeks, sorry, 9 weeks was exactly how much leave I had. And
Wow.
so, right to the day, and got out. And now I have my son just turned 3 last week, and I have a 1 year old, almost 1 year old daughter. So, yeah,
Oh,
thank
congratulations. That is
you.
awesome. So you played bassoon?
Yes.
My
Mm-hmm.
daughter played bassoon and she had a
Get out. You know what it is.
oh yes, absolutely. I love it. So she started out playing clarinet
Okay.
in 5th grade
I was a
doing
saxophone
that.
girly myself. Yeah.
Yep, and then
Mm-hmm.
she went into the marching band,
Yep.
and then she transitioned from clarinet to the saxophone. I think it was alto sax first, and then I want to say bass sax, or what's the next?
Baritone? Tenor?
Baritone. I think that's it. Anyway, she
Yeah.
played saxophone. She could teach herself any musical instrument. She was really, really good. And then she wanted to go into the orchestra. Well, they didn't need any of those other instruments.
Yeah.
So her music teacher convinced her to pick up the bassoon, and she did. She had a scholarship to Penn State to play bassoon in
Yeah.
their orchestra. Wasn't meant to be
Mhm.
because it worked out as things do work out in life, right? But she went snowboarding, broke her thumb, and couldn't practice. And so
Mm.
she ended up not getting as much scholarship to Penn
Mhm.
State as we had hoped. And so then we checked out Indiana University, which is where I grew up. I grew up in Indiana.
IU's got a great music
Oh
program
my gosh,
too.
their
Yeah.
marching 100 is absolutely phenomenal. So
Mhm.
she chose to go there, and she was in the marching 100 for 5 years. So where she met
Wow.
her husband, and they are married now and have 5 beautiful kids. So it all happens for a reason. Absolutely, I truly believe
Mhm.
that. Well, congratulations on all that. That's
Thank you.
awesome. So, all right. So you're out now being stay-at-home mom, which is an absolutely wonderful occupation, a very underrated one, unfortunately. A lot of people don't understand the work that it takes to be a stay-at-home mom. It's not just sitting around watching TV, eating bonbons all day, especially when you have little ones.
Mhm.
Um, so you're doing all that. Now you decide to make a wreath out of your uniform. And which one did you start with? Did you use your Marine Corps? Because those are like the best uniforms ever.
My Marine Corps ones are still in a sea bag in the closet. But actually, so I was actually still active duty Air Force when I started making a wreath, and it was
Okay.
because we were switching uniforms from the ABUs to the current OCPs, and so I
Okay.
made one with my ABUs. I went home on leave. It was July of 2020, so COVID was like just starting
Wow.
up, doing its
Yeah.
thing, and went home on leave. Made a wreath with my mom, and I posted it on Facebook, just being like, "Hey y'all, look what I made."
Yeah.
Started doing onesies, twosies under the table, and then
Yeah.
my friend from the youth orchestra, see, it did come in handy. My friend from the youth orchestra, who then worked at the news station, was like, "Hey, we want to do a story on your wreaths in December." Do the story. Next thing I know, I wake up to hundreds of emails, and they're like, "We sent it out to a bunch of regional news affiliates." And then People Magazine reached out, and then Fox News reached out, and
Oh my
CBS in the Morning, and
gosh.
Late Night with David Muir, and all these people. So
That
it
is
went from
awesome.
under the table to, oh my
Yeah.
God, I need a website, EIN, tax
Yeah.
things, like overnight. So I had a 2,000 person wait list. It was wild. So I kind of say thank God for COVID, because I didn't have to go into work. So that saved a lot of time, and gave me the time I needed to kind of focus and figure it out.
So I know it's been 5 years now, but have you cleared the backlog?
Yeah, yeah, I think May of 23 is when I had finished it. So, yeah, it's
Oh my
been
gosh.
about, 2 years of like actually having to do the real small business thing of like finding customers and working on
Mm,
referrals and those kinds of things. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's been quite a change.
It's not easy. Yeah, definitely not easy. Did you sew as a kid? When did you learn to sew?
I actually, fun fact, there's no sewing, no sewing
Oh, okay.
involved. Nope. Yeah, lots of cutting and
Mhm.
pinning and gluing and assembling, but
Okay.
yeah, I hand fold and attach each of the flaps from it, so
Wow.
that's what takes a while, but yeah, my mom was always a very crafty human being, like,
Yeah.
anything, and so she got me kind of hooked on crafting, and so that's why I knew when I went home on leave, I was like, "I wanna try this with her." I was like, "If anybody can figure this out, it's gonna be her," because I had a design in mind, and then we made it happen, and then throughout the, months, I, like, refined it, so it's a lot more crisp than the one I made at first, but
The prototype is always,
yeah,
progress, not
yeah, she
perfection.
didn't last long. That one is somewhere in the trash now. It just did not last long, but now these ones are built to last, you know?
Nice. So, are there any uniform restrictions? Like, I have my uniform from the Navy from the 1980s.
Like the
It's still in my
dungarees or
cedar chest.
or like the blues or the whites or the dungarees or the
My dress
your
blues,
less dress
the
blues, the
old.
Cracker Jacks?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
not Cracker Jacks.
they're
I
not
didn't get
Cracker
to do that.
Jacks.
I love those uniforms, and they didn't implement those for women until after I got out. I
Rude.
love those uniforms. No, I have the really old, not like the bow tie and the old white shirt and it was almost wool kind of
Well, yeah,
material jacket. So it's in my cedar chest and it's just sitting in there. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I'm like, I'm going to ask Nicole about it. So, do you have any
oh, yeah.
restrictions on the type of
No,
uniforms people can send you?
no, no, and I've worked with wool plenty of times, and if you go on my website, this is for everyone, not just you, obviously, I have a whole gallery and it's broken down by
Okay,
service, so you can, like, click on Navy, and then you'll see, like, all the ones I made with Navy, but, yeah, I've worked with old
nice.
wool from, like, World War II era and stuff. Yeah, as long as it's not, like, wildly thick,
Yeah,
as lo
no,
if you can fold
exactly.
it over twice, I can use it, so yeah, people I'd say like half the customers send in their own uniforms and half of the customers use I've gotten so many fatigue donations throughout the years just from going
Oh,
viral and a lot of like the news
okay.
outlets being like, if you have uniforms to donate and don't know what to do with, send them to Nicole. And so it was very nice. But now that we're going to PCS in April,
Cool.
I gotta cut all of them down because I gotta save space. But I've got every fatigue in stock, and then I've got some dress options from donations as
Wow.
well. So if people don't have their own stuff, I can make it
So,
too.
am I hearing you're a military spouse?
Yes. Yeah, my husband's still in. So he's a MTI right now, like a Smokey Bear hat, drill
Okay.
instructor. So yeah, he's doing that. And then in April, he'll go back to the band field and we'll be moving to California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that as well. Again, another underrated occupation where people really take for granted how strong, what, skills military spouses have. So thank you for that. Thank you for wearing that uniform. It's a uniform that people just don't realize.
Yeah.
So thank you. And wow, a move to California. Where are you going in California?
Travis. So it's like in
Okay.
between Sacramento and San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Awesome. Wow. Okay. So no restrictions. That's awesome. And I think, you said donations can come in. That's good. Because we've had a couple people reach out to us on how do I dispose of my husband's uniforms or, I've got all these uniforms. What do I do with them? So now I know. So you're
And on
still
my
taking
way.
orders. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. So what's the next, what's next for Wreaths by Nicole P? What is there a growth plan? What are you looking at? Because I'm thinking, this is one of those situations. I don't know if you've heard of our Riveter.
Yep.
Um,
I'm in their flagship store in where is it? Ohio? Nuts. I literally
um,
just worked on a consignment with them. So some of my wreaths are there on consignment. Actually, we were gonna collab, but then like their whole building thing happened where they had to like relocate because we were gonna
yeah,
do like a purse with a wreath, and
yes,
that. So yes, I am in cahoots with our Riveter.
great.
So yeah, for now,
Because
my
their
wreath.
model is military spouses
Yep.
put those purses together in
Yep.
different locations. So what a great concept to help military spouses in their PCS world of having to
Yeah.
move.
Yeah,
So
they
is
like
that
set them the
something that you're
supplies.
looking to do for your wreaths?
I I have in the past used other military spouses as like contractors to
Yeah.
help me cut the uniforms and prepare them and stuff. So
Okay.
I've been the only one to assemble, but it is very helpful when I don't have to cut in them and everything. So I've
Absolutely.
been thankfully, because I live in a very big military city, I've just like
Yes.
utilized a lot of military spouses around my neighborhood. And actually, I've like made good friends
That's
accidentally
awesome.
hiring, So
Yeah.
yeah, when I get to Travis, definitely I'm gonna look, and we're gonna live on base, so that'll help. So like I'm definitely gonna just look for help that way. And yeah, that's kind of my MO is I definitely only
Wonderful.
want to hire military spouses just because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, good for you. Congratulations on that. So, overnight success, seemingly, that
Yeah,
people
crazy.
don't understand all the work that went behind that, and all the work then went after that. So they,
Yes.
they think overnight success and everything's just sunshine and rainbows. What was the worst part of that experience, going from that viral situation?
I would say turning it off.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like my husband was very supportive. And thank God I didn't have kids when I started because
Yeah.
it wouldn't have happened. But like I was spending like every extra waking moment, and
Mm.
because there was always something to do, because I had this big long list of people, it
Right.
was like I could set the pace about how quickly or slowly I was working. But
Yeah.
if people have to wait 18 months for a wreath, maybe some people won't want it when I reach out to them by 18 months, which kind of was the case, for I'd
Wow.
say like 30% of the people on my wait list, which is
So did they pay up front though, or
they
they
didn't.
they paid
I
when you finished it? Wow.
Yeah, they paid so I would reach out to people in bunches and be like, "Hey, it's your turn to order. Do you still want to order?" Because
Okay.
I didn't have the
Smart.
heart to like hold people's money for over a year. I just
Mm.
looking back on it, I wish I could have done maybe like a down payment or
Yes.
something like that, but
Yes.
hindsight's 2020. But
Right. No,
yeah,
that's a lesson learned. I mean, that's
yeah,
really what this podcast is all about, is helping other founders learn those kind of lessons, and not pay those dummy taxes that we've paid for
like how
them.
you don't have to pay to get an EIN number. Fun fact, you don't have to pay somebody to get an EIN number.
Somebody charged you to get an
I
EIN?
literally Googled, like, I need an EIN number, clicked on the first, like, page I found. It looked so official. When I put it next to the actual, like, IRS page, there
Wow.
was, like, no distinction. It was nasty how,
Oh
like,
my
similar
God.
it looked. And so I just thought, okay, I have to pay $250 to this person to do an EIN number. Yeah, that's always my fun, like, dummy story. Don't fall into that one.
Yes.
You don't have to pay for an
Wow.
EIN number.
Oh my gosh. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that, because you can get caught up in it when people don't know. I mean, I got
Yeah.
to get an EIN number. I'm going to Google it, and here we go. And you don't know. Wow. So thank you. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Please do not pay someone to
You're not. You
get your
just go on,
EIN.
you just get it. You just get one. Yeah.
Wow. So the timing of everything, that was kind of the struggle. And so did you have a lot of people that just kind of said, "No, thank you. I'm over it now."
Honestly, no, I'd say about, like I said, like about 30, I'd say like 30% of the people,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah. And then there were people that would like reach out. They were like, "Hey, I was on your wait list. Like, are you still doing that thing?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh, yeah, you're good. Let's place an order." So,
Good.
um, yeah, I always tried to, and the only people I like usually let skip the line were like Gold Star families or people that were looking for like ones for funerals.
Yes.
Um, I always wanted,
Wow.
them to get theirs first. If they entrusted me with their uniforms, I'm like, absolutely, like, let's do this. So
Yeah.
that was my
Good for you.
exception to the rule. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you had a couple of really great stories? Not that a Gold Star family is a great experience,
No.
absolutely not. But are there stories that you can share that just really, were an incredible honor to have done one of these wreaths for?
Yeah, and it's funny because you mentioned this, and my brain immediately goes to this one story that I tell on like all the podcasts because I can't. It's my favorite one. I was living here, so I want to say, and I was pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
So sometime almost like a year and a half, 2 years ago ish. And this mother of a Marine reached out to me, and
Mm,
she was like, "Hey, my son, he's a Gold Star, blah, blah, blah. He passed away
mm.
when he was 23 and all this stuff." She's like, I have his blues, and I have some khakis, and I have some fatigues, and I want to get a bunch of small wreaths and ornaments for my family and to distribute them. So I was like, absolutely. And I and she lived in San Antonio. So I'd done Gold Star families before, but I had never done one local. So like
Wow.
she mailed the wreaths, but then she came to pick them up. And when I was making the wreaths, yeah, you might know, like as a hack for your ribbons to stay tight on your thing, sometimes you put a backing on them, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes you just use a piece of like cardboard, or you like
Yeah.
just like ghetto rig it to like make it nice and flat. And when I was cutting up his Chuck's shirt, the short khaki shirt, his Chuck shirt, I looked in the back, and the backing was a handwritten note from his mom that said, "Love you, son." And I was just like, oh my God, because the pregnancy hormones are going already.
Wow.
You know what
I
I
don't even
mean?
need pregnancy hormones.
I
That's
know, right?
like I'm tearing.
I
Wow.
know it's so I'll send you the pictures of it because I fixed it to one of the backs of the wreaths.
Wow.
And when she went to go pick them up, uh, she was like, I told her that I was like, did you see that his backing on his shirt was a handwritten note from you? And she was like, what? And I like she had no idea. And then we're
So he
sitting
had
there.
done it? Like she didn't
Yeah, that's
she
like
didn't
how like
know.
that was the backing that he used, and she had no idea. And then she was like, I put the wreath in the back of her car, and she was like, "Do you want to see a picture of him?" And like she shows me a picture of him in his
Wow.
blues, like his like nice official headshot photos, and we're
Wow.
both just sitting there in my driveway, just crying, looking at pictures of his son, and I was just like,
Wow.
I'm so honored that you chose me to entrust with your son's uniforms. You
Yeah.
know, I think I've done about like 15 Gold Star family ones so
Okay.
far, out of the 3,500 wreaths or whatever, or, orders. But
Wow.
yeah, those ones, that story, like 100%, I was just like, holy cow, there is like,
Right?
usually I ship it off. I get sad, I ship it off, and that's that. But like
Yeah.
having to meet the mom,
Yeah.
like talk to her, tell her about that, it was just, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. That's a moment.
Yeah.
It truly is. But it does make you feel good about what you do.
Yes.
It has to. So thank you for that, and thank you for doing all that, because I know it would mean a lot to a family. I can imagine. So this episode is airing on Veterans Day. So
Oh,
yes.
cool.
So,
Okay.
a shout out to all of our veterans, and thank you for wearing the uniform, Nicole, and both uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. So as we kind of close out, what would be your advice to other crafters in particular? Because that's a very niche business, right?
Hmm.
And have you heard of Spousely?
I am part of Spousely. Actually, if
Yes.
you go on, well, it'll end by the time this airs, but I'm doing a giveaway with them this week. And so like if
Okay.
you like the post and follow my page and follow their page, you win a wreath and a gift card. Yeah,
Nice.
I am knee deep in Spousely. I love Monica. I love Katie. I love everyone there. They're great. Yes.
They're so great. Yeah. Awesome. Well, shout out to them. So,
Shout out.
yeah, absolutely. So, just kind of give, other crafters your best advice for, or military spouses as if they're thinking about starting their own business. What's your advice to them?
Yeah, two things that I always kind of go back to. One, you this one, the first one's a little harsh. You need to make sure that the market needs your product.
Hmm.
And what mean by that is you can't just go to mom, dad, and husband and be like, I'm gonna pitch this thing, because they're always gonna be like, yeah, you're a rock star, sweetie, trace your dreams, But
Right.
like, and I mean, I got my assurance because I went viral and people ate it up, right? Then I'm like, okay, people want this product, right? I was lucky enough to kind of have my own test audience with that. But
Sure.
like, you need to go out into the community, you need to do your research, you need to make sure that people want your product. Number one. Number two, your product is more about the story than the product itself. There are a lot of people that make wreaths out there.
Hmm.
There's some people that make wreaths with military uniforms out there. Somebody stole my business model, but that's okay. But you need your story matters almost just as much. the fact that I'm a veteran, I put myself out there, I tell my story, I share pictures of my kids on my Facebook pages, people know what's going on with my husband and, his career, um and just being your authentic self,
Yeah.
people are going to see right through you if you try to put on this persona as somebody else. And I think that's like why I go on these podcasts too. I mean, gosh, I think I've probably been on like 20 plus podcasts, familiar to this,
Yeah.
or similar to this, sorry. But that's because I want people to see the face behind the business, and I
Yeah.
want people to just know, like, I'm a human. Like, I love my country. I love honoring veterans. I loved serving my country. We continue to serve our country as a family. Like, and yeah, I think if you just have like a compelling, relatable story, like that's really going to help boost your product, boost your image, and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely. Which can be difficult too if you are a stay-at-home mom, a military
100%.
spouse, right? You can't always go to every event or every trade show or every, whatever is out there.
I
So you
wish
have
I
to
could do more
find ways.
markets. I wish, because they always go so well. But yeah, trying to hoist wreaths and have kids, or you know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah.
don't want to ask my husband to watch the kids all the time. It's like he's working. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Nicole, thank you so much again for wearing the uniform, for all that you're doing, for being a military spouse. Wow, just amazing, incredible story. So, thanks for sharing it on our podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. So, great to meet you, and I look forward to having my own wreath. So.
Yeah.
All right. I want to, before we end, I want to send a shout out to our producer, LaFay LLC. So they do a great job. And you can see their QR code on our graphic there. And listeners, please go out and subscribe to our podcast, either on our YouTube channel or Spotify, so that we can have the capacity to share more of these great stories. Hopefully, the next one won't make me cry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.